What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and before I start this video, I highly advise you go and watch yesterday's video, and if you haven't watched yesterday's video, I highly suggest you go and watch Sunday's video, just so that you have an idea of all the PD arrays I have marked out. And yeah, let's get straight into things. So we had quite an interesting day today. Price didn't deliver to the premium PD array that I anticipated. However, you will see that we did take out Monday's high quite comfortably too, and came off it quite aggressively. You'll also see that we traded down into Monday's low wick as well, coming off of that as well. But once we drop down to the lower time frames, we will be able to frame it a lot more clearer. One thing I do want to bring our attention to is this daily consequent encroachment. So if you remember the past 2 days now, I've been talking about this consequent encroachment and saying how the fact that we traded into it on Monday said to me that I want to see, can we reach up into this weekly fair value gap? And you see we just about failed to do that, which is showing a level of weakness to me on dollar. So with that taken into account, I do want to see if we can move lower moving into tomorrow. However, we do have high impact news both at 8:30, and then we have FOMC minutes as well. I don't tend to trade. I highly suggest and highly recommend you don't bother trade tomorrow, purely because the way that they move the markets when there's FOMC minutes at like 2 p.m, you'll see lots of consolidation, a lot of high resistance, runs on liquidity, and then we probably won't see a move until like 2, 3, 4 p.m. if anything. And it's better we just wait till Thursday and Friday, I suggest. But as I was saying, one thing I want to bring our attention to is the way that the volume, we haven't yet closed, but you can see we only have 50 minutes left, but the volume is respecting the daily consequent encroachment. So the volume of these daily candles are staying below it, which is again supporting off our bias of wanting to see lower dollar for the rest of the week, and this should be taken into consideration as we move into the next day. So let's go on to the 4 hour, and you can see how heavily consolidated we were as we traded higher, moving into this bearish order block right here. Another thing to take note of is the mean threshold of the bearish order block, which is mean threshold, which is the midpoint. Look at this, you can see how volume again is respecting that level. So we're seeing respect of bearish PD arrays. Although we are trading into the levels and trading higher, it's still finding a hell of a ton of resistance to get through it, which again is suggesting that we should be able to get a nice run lower. And again, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I brought our attention to this south side liquidity formed from Monday's low and last Friday's low as well. So I do want to see lower dollar overall, but like I said, the way that they can move price with FOMC minutes and high impact news at 8:30 is so ugly that it might not even be worth trying to risk getting involved. Also, technically we can still trade up to this fair value gap that I've had my eyes on. So we might see a wick up there and then trade lower. Ideally, I'd like to think that we don't get up there. That would really help with my bias. It would show a level of bearishness which I'm comfortable with. That can help us frame lower pricing for the rest of the week. But let's now drop down to the 1 hour and take a close look, and you'll see I've got my daily dividers. Here's Monday's trading. We traded very deeply lower. We traded much deeper lower during London, and then we had a classic reversal after that during New York. Now, one thing I want to preach to you is that when you see movements like this, when we're expecting higher days, because if you remember in yesterday's video I was saying I wanted to see us trade higher, right? When we see London moving this aggressively lower, don't let it fool you. Just simply wait until New York, and then you'll see the reversal we waited for. And you can see we came right down into that Sunday opening price and came off of it once again. Again, consolidating at that daily consequent encroachment, and we traded actually into a bearish order block on the hourly right here with this wick. Again, volume respecting these levels, and there is a slight breaker here as well, high, low, higher, high. So we're respecting that as well. So moving into tomorrow, what am I looking at? Well, I'm going to drag this out. And so long as price stays below this level, I'm happy to be heavily bearish on dollar with the expectation to run for this south side liquidity below Monday's lows, and then start working our way down towards this south side liquidity. If, say, we start trading above that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did, again, the amount of manipulation that happens on days like this, especially a Wednesday, midweek, if we do trade higher than that, I'll simply just stay out of it and probably not even bother, get involved. But I'd like to think that if we can stay below that, we'd be able to see some nice setups forming to send us lower. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on dollar. I hope that all makes sense. And yeah, let's now head over to GBP USD. We'll start here on the daily as well, obviously, and then you can see what is that purple level. Let's get rid of that. So you'll see that the daily took out both the high and low of Monday, which is quite interesting. So there was a lot of movement on pound today, which is fine. I did get in on a few moves, and to be honest, it was, if you understood where we were trading to and from, it was quite a nice day. And what I mean by that is that we had this massive daily bearish order block, which I didn't bring our attention to, by the way. But we had this massive daily bearish order block that we traded into on Tuesday and then came off of it, sending price lower, and it actually ran for, I do believe, the Asian range lows. Now, the Asian range lows and highs, I am going to be releasing a video on that very soon in June, so definitely keep an eye out. Join the mailing list if you want to have access to that. Link in the description. But until then, let's now drop down to the 4 hour and see how price traded. So if you look at this price action, it's very disgusting. Clear consolidation, a lot of back and forth price action, and you'll see it's very different as well to how euro was moving. And what do I mean by that? Let's add euro to the charts, and you can see how euros clearly moved lower, whilst pounds showing this kind of strength. Now, don't get me wrong, euro is moving lower in tandem with dollar moving higher. Pound's the one that's misbehaving right here, which is why I do believe that pound is going to have to, do some behaving or snap into place to some extent. But yeah, pretty ugly price action on the 4 hour. Not something I really want to get involved with. Remember, generally speaking, I am expecting a higher GBP. If I'm expecting lower dollar, I want to see GBP trade higher. And the fact it's continuing to show this strength, if dollar does give way and starts to trade lower, pound will probably be the pair to trade, because it's showing that strength which euro isn't. So we might see some significant expansion on pound. Furthermore, we have a clear big 4 hour fair value gap right here, waiting to get filled in the premium, assuming that dollar does give way and that we are going to reach for some kind of buy side imbalance on pound. So let's just get that marked out as our target if we do start seeing price break out higher. Another thing to take note of is that here on this 4 hour candle, we did come down and grab stops below Monday's low. And again, I did mention this in yesterday's video, how Monday's low was a target. And this is interesting because we took out Monday's low here on GBP, but you know that did dollar take out Monday's high? Dollar failed to take out Monday's high. No, it didn't. My bad, guys. But my point is that liquidity has been grabbed from below this low. So if anything, we should be now permitted to trade on higher. If this low gets violated now, then I'll be expecting a significant movement lower into this south side liquidity. But I'm still bullish on pound, which is why I want to see us trade up into this fair value gap. So what am I looking for moving into tomorrow? Well, let's drop down to the 1 hour. And again, I'm going to be watching this long wick. And what I'm going to mark out is the consequent encroachment, as per usual. And I'm going to be watching this level to provide support. So this is the very lowest I want to see price trade if we're to remain bullish on if we're to remain bullish on pound and dollar is to give way and start trading lower. So definitely keep an eye on this level. It should be respected so long as we want to see higher prices. But what you'll find is that we got this reaction that we saw when it traded lower. We got this reaction from a daily bearish order block, but look how we came off of it. Yes, we came down, took out Monday's lows, but we wicked right off of it, and price is still remaining consistent above that Sunday opening price. So that's something to consider as well. And that Sunday opening price, I'll talk about it when we reach euro as well, because what you'll find is that euro is actually below the Sunday opening price right now, whereas pound is showing significant strength sitting on top of it. Multiple times we traded into it, come off of it, traded into it, come off of it. And I'd like to think that this created a classic Tuesday low that can enable us to then have a continuation higher. And we've created relative equal highs here with Tuesday's high and Monday's high. But like I said, with the amount of news we have tomorrow, we have high impact news, we have inflation rates on pound. That's something to consider. We just need to be really careful, and it's probably not the best conditions to be trading in. But overall, so long as dollar wants to show its weakness, so if dollar starts to fall, then I'm happy to be long on GBP with the expectation to fill this fair value gap. So pretty simple, but it should be quite interesting to say the least. Let's drop down to the 15-minute, and you can see, you're probably looking at this like, how did I manage to trade in these conditions? I don't even know myself. It is disgusting. Back and forth, back and forth. This looks like how Wednesdays usually look. So for them to do that on Tuesday, like, this looks like a Wednesday profile to me, the amount of back and forth price action. For them to do this on Tuesday, it's saying to me that we'll probably see significant movement moving into the Wednesday. But I do like the fact, like I said, that we've grabbed those stops. Price is staying above that Sunday opening, and now I'm just watching this consequent encroachment to provide support, assuming we're going to go higher. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now finish up on Euro USD. We'll start on the daily. Now my markings from Euro USD have gone, but yeah, so Euro failed to take out Monday's high, whereas remember pound took out Euro Monday's high and then comfortably took out Monday's low and traded down into this wick. So Euro is significantly weaker than pound right now, but obviously if we want to see lower dollar, we do still want to see higher Euro. So let's drop down a time frame and see if we can look for some PD arrays to key off of. So what you'll find is that we traded down into this bullish order block. We can look at the opening of it, touch that, and then price came off of it. So that's nice to see. I'd like to think that that is the low of the week again, similar to pound, but again with the kind of price action we're seeing, not very clean at all, and I'm waiting on like a significant expansion. Like, yes, we've came down into this level and came off of it, but we haven't yet had that expansion out of it, out of the range, if you know what I'm saying. But right now we've filled this fair value gap in the discount, and if we are bullish, then that Monday high, which we failed to take out today, that Monday high should be used as a target moving into Wednesday, assuming we do see that much price action. So let's get that Monday high marked out. And again, remember, this is all only relevant if dollar wants to respect what we want to see it respect. If dollar respects this level and we continue moving lower, then we are then permitted to be expecting longs on GBP and Euro, and we can start running for these levels such as here, and it'll be Tuesday's high as well. So we do have some nice targets laid out. It's just the fact that the way we got news at 8:30 and FOMC minutes, which I honestly, guys, I hate it. Like, it's just not a nice day. Probably best to stay out, but it'll be very interesting to say the least. But yeah, that's going to be everything, guys. Hope you found this insightful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to join the mailing list. The link is in the description. Smash subscribe, smash like, and drop a comment if you have any questions. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.